Donald Trump Jr. I thought the tapes they put together were devastating. It was an evisceration even. And if you did apply the same standards that they applied to your father, Don Jr., all of them would be impeached and all of them would be put on trial. But I don't expect even Republican leadership to hold Democrats accountable to that standard.
No, Republican leadership will do nothing, Sean, because that's what they do best, nothing. The reality is this: if this wasn't a kangaroo court, you'd have the Republicans clamoring to go after the supposed prosecution for literally manufacturing evidence. I mean, imagine any prosecutor in America was caught manufacturing evidence against a witness. That would be a jailable offense. They would be disbarred. They'd be thrown out of their positions. They'd be impeached. That's what should happen here. When they're manufacturing, putting up fake blue check marks, altering tweets, doing all of these things for effect because they know they have a patsy media that will cover and run with anything they say, regardless of how ridiculous it is. They're used to being able to get away with it. And more importantly, they're used to Republicans who don't have the guts to actually ever push back. They sit there and take it. When it happens to a Republican, when it happens to a Democrat, the Democrats go outraged. They go full crazy. And they get whatever they want each and every time. And that's why this is Donald Trump's party. He's taught Republicans and conservatives that they don't need to be steamrolled, that they can push back, that they don't just have to roll over and die because the other side would like them to. That's the difference between Donald Trump and Republican leadership for the last few decades, which has done nothing but cede ground to the radical left.
Your dad was out playing golf today, and he did release a statement. He's been quiet. Obviously, he's been canceled on Twitter and these other social platforms, but also obviously by design, because he would be able to speak if he wants. And I think for the time being, it's actually a pretty smart thing to do. But you look at your dad coming back from golf. Did you see thousands of people out of nowhere? Nobody organized it that I could see. No, certainly nobody associated with your father that I know of. Do you?
No, I mean, this is totally organic. And again, it just shows that the American people are with Donald Trump. Those millions of people. Sean, I saw it all day. I put up a separate video, even to the one that you posted earlier, on my own social channels, just in front of Mar-a-Lago, going back and forth on my Facebook page. You'll see it. Literally thousands of cars, flying flags, playing music, honking their horns for their president on President's Day. It was actually just an amazing thing to see. It was so heartwarming to see that spirit that we know exists with the American public for someone that they know represents them, fights for them, for their values, for their jobs. You know, and I wrote a little book about liberal privilege, right? And all of the things that I talked about are exactly the thing that Joe Biden's doing, which is exactly the opposite. Crushing American jobs, crushing the blue-collar worker, catering only to the teachers' union. They dictate science today. China tells us what we're going to be doing. You know, that $1 billion to Hunter, that didn't come for free. That was a great return on investment for the Chinese because they know they can get away with it, and our political class will say nothing because they've been on the take in the same way for decades.
Unbelievable. So, do you have any insight into your dad and what's next? He talked about in his statement that he has a lot to share with the people in this country in the months ahead, and to continue this, to make America great and the land of opportunity and hope and the shining city on a hill, or as he said, we're one glorious nation under God, and one family, one united family. You have any insight?
100%. I actually spoke to him about it pretty extensively last night. And the reality is this: he's going to keep pushing that America First agenda, fighting for the American worker. He's going to be pushing for candidates who will do that. Not the random, establishment guys that, have sat there for years, have done absolutely nothing, and get, just total support from the establishment base. We're going to do exactly the opposite. The people who are going to be good for the American people, we're going to fight, we're going to support, we're going to make sure those guys get elected, and we're going to continue doing to conservatism what my father has done, which is bring it from the dead back into real life with people who love this country and who are willing to go to bat for her.
Don Jr., as always, thank you.